I've watched my fair share of scary movies. Good ones, bad ones, good bad ones. And they usually teach us the same messages, that every creepy basement is haunted and everything older than your grandmother at a flea market is cursed. If this is presented as so matter of fact from Hollywood to our relatives, then why do so many people label you as superstitious when you even talk about them? So I got thinking, why haven't I seen a ghost? I haven't seen Bigfoot in the woods, or a shadow figure standing at the end of a hallway. And I've been in hundreds, if not thousands of hallways in my life. So I'd like to know, can a group of amateur ghost hunters find evidence beyond a doubt of the paranormal? Picture this. 11-year-old me on vacation with my family. It was the first night of us staying at a relative's apartment. It was getting late and we're all getting ready to go to bed and rest up for another day of whatever tourist activities we had planned. A doll was found in the apartment. Its appearance clearly changed from its heyday. Even my mom was a bit unsettled by it. Its face is pale, features not quite right, clothes showing its age. My sister and I joked about how this doll was cursed and insisted that there was no way it was going to stay in our room. So to shut us up, my parents brought it into their room. With us now satisfied enough with ours and the doll's sleeping arrangement, everyone returned to their rooms. While finishing unpacking our bags, my sister starts screaming, confused. I look to see her pointing to the balcony door of our room, and in the dark door frame was the doll standing. Not sat upright, but standing on its legs. We completely lose it and run, and we're run screaming to our parents' room, and we burst in, and they're laughing at us. So what happened was my dad took the doll onto our joint balcony and puppeteered it around the corner, and it was later told to us that relatives who kept the doll tried their best to restore it, giving it its unique appearance. My sister and I are still being teased about this today. While that doll remains in Portugal and in my nightmares, there's another doll right here close to home with less explainable habits. On exhibit at the Quesnel District Museum and Archives lives the infamous Mandy doll. Nicknamed Canada's Annabelle, while Mandy's exact history remains unknown, we know it's approximately 120 years old and was donated to the Quesnel Museum in 1991. A local woman who remains anonymous donated the doll after unsettling experiences in her home. A mother with a young daughter discovered the doll belonging to her great-grandmother while cleaning out her grandmother's home. Soon after, it was decided for one reason or another she did not want her daughter playing with such a spooky-looking doll. I mean, not wanting a delicate heirloom antique doll to be a child's plaything is a good enough reason, so I think the name-calling was a bit unnecessary. Once Mandy was moved to the basement is when the tale takes a darker turn. It's reported that moans and groans and other unexplained noises started happening around the house. On multiple occasions, a baby's crying would be heard in the middle of the night, coming from the basement. When the basement was checked for the source of the sound, the crying would stop and a window would be found unlocked and open. I suppose they had enough of living with a doll that's not considered of letting in drafts. Mandy was donated to the local museum. It was revealed in an article that this woman was reached out to later by museum staff and all spooky activity ceased since Mandy moved homes. Now, while intimidating auras, windows opening on their own, and disembodied voices are enough to land it the title of one of North America's most haunted dolls, Mandy's story does not stop there. Mandy is not fond of photographs. A common theme in all articles and interviews is how photography and video devices malfunction when capturing her image. When she first arrived in the 90s, the museum did what all museums do: they acquire a new exhibit, photograph, and catalog. The photographer and his assistant were tasked with this job. While taking photos, the assistant heard and felt a sigh right next to her ear, immediately followed by objects falling off the shelves. Both workers fled, and upon returning, the entire room was in complete disarray. The story continues that one of those employees returned in 2017 to visit the museum, but refused to go near the doll, even after 20 years. To this day, it's still reported that capturing could disrupt cameras and other recording devices. Camera flashes will not work in the proximity of the doll, batteries would drain immediately, and in a previous interview, a story was told of a museum visitor taking pictures of all the exhibits, but when reaching Mandy, the camera refused to work. After taking a step back, moving the camera out of Mandy's view, the shutter went off on its own multiple times. The museum staff has found that asking Mandy for permission to take her pictures results in more reliable photography. The museum curator called a colleague who claims to perceive an object's energy. When given one-on-one time with the doll, she completed the evaluation without removing Mandy from her plastic, as she was quoted as saying, "I've been too afraid to touch the doll." Mandy wasn't done with her torment in the museum quite yet. Since being placed in the museum, staff has reported hearing footsteps heard where no people were, lunches disappearing to be found stuffed in drawers, and belongings going missing only to turn up in nonsensical places. When she was displayed with other dolls, it was said that she would harm the other dolls as there would be unexplained damage to them during the night. This has since stopped since Mandy is now separated, locked from them in her own glass case. Mandy is now paired with a small plushy sheep to be her companion. While always in her locked display case, one morning it was found missing and was discovered to be on the floor underneath her display that remained locked. Mandy is a very popular exhibit at the Quesnel Museum. Museum and Heritage Manager Elizabeth Hunter once told the Huffington Post that a portion of their visitors come specifically to see Mandy. Mandy is also a known local celebrity, especially to the local children. During one of the tours of the museum, one girl fainted while in front of the Mandy exhibit, causing her to be hospitalized for the night. While a great story, this was most likely to be a case of nerves from the child being spooked by Mandy's appearance and not a supernatural force. Do the legends hold up? Is there something more to her porcelain than meets the eye? Or is it just a creepy doll in a case? We're making the journey over there to find out for ourselves. But before we jump in, let's hear a point of view from someone who once worked in that same building. Emma worked alongside Mandy the doll for years and is here to share her knowledge and the folklore around Mandy, as well as her personal experiences at the museum. Hello, Emma, and thank you for joining us today on Phantom Rivers here.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Do you mind telling us a bit of about yourself and your connection to the Quesnel Museum?
Yes, absolutely. I was born and raised in Quesnel. And so, went there all my life as a kid. And after my first year of university, I snagged a job there as a summer student and was thrilled to work there for 2 summers as kind of a curatorial programming assistant. And it's just a fantastic place. So I'm happy to talk about it.
So we're mostly focusing on Mandy the doll here in this interview. When was the first time that you've heard of Mandy the doll?
Well, anybody who grew up in town and probably in surrounding areas would have heard about Mandy very early on because oftentimes school groups go in and the kids who go will come back to the school and they will tell all the younger kids about it, scare the crap out of them. And so I knew about it from a pretty young age. And even working there, I would often, have the school groups come in and all the kids would be like, is the doll really haunted? Can we see her? And I'd be like, no, we have to go learn about things.
So Mandy's sounds like she's a very, very popular attraction to the museum.
Yeah, she's very popular. She brings in people, I think from many different places. People will come in and they'll write articles about her and the news spreads and it's kind of becomes a little bit of an attraction you got to go check out. And she really is a draw, I think, to the area because of that popularity.
From working there, what could you tell me a bit about some of the history points to Mandy?
Mandy's history, from what I kind of gleaned and was told in my time at the museum, she was brought in by a woman who had kind of inherited Mandy, I believe, from her mother's belongings or her grandmother's belongings. Mandy's a very old doll, and the doll really freaked her out. There was something off about her, and there's kind of various places from here that I've heard the story go as far as Mandy having done something that kind of scared the children and made her want to bring her in, or if it was just kind of right away she was like, this isn't something I want around my children. And she came in, and the curator at the time accepted the donation, and that's the story of how Mandy kind of came to be at the museum. And from there were a series of kind of strange events around her that have been talked about. An especially well-known one was one night after locking up, somehow some kind of mess was made in the room where you'd go to develop the photos in the dark room. And when the staff came in the morning, they discovered this mess, like pencils thrown everywhere, something like that. And they kind of got the sense that it was Mandy. And there were a few incidents like that. Other than that, oftentimes when people are around Mandy, she's got kind of her own room, or she did when I was there. There have recently been some renovations. She had her own room, and she's in this little glass case, and people would go and kind of visit her and maybe get a bit of a weird energy and feel their mood really dampened. And they would, come and tell us about it at the front desk and say, like, that really felt off-putting. She is a bit of an off-putting looking doll. I think she's adorable, but the crack on the face.
Yeah.
So that's kind of Mandy's history up until now, and a little bit about her story.
Definitely her appearance is very Hollywood creepy.
Yes. Yeah. I would say creepier than like the original Annabelle, who's just a Raggedy Ann.
Yes, I would agree on that. Have you had any odd experiences yourself with Mandy at all?
That's a good question. I haven't myself, and I was only there in the summer, but I don't consider myself a strictly superstitious person, but I felt like if I just treated Mandy with the respect, she probably wasn't going to haunt me. So every night when I was locking up the museum and turning off all of those lights and going around, I would, I'd walk by her case and I'd, go, oh, good night, Mandy, and send her my positive energy, because I really think that, that whole thing of going in and having your mood dampened really comes with that expectation of it happening, that Mandy's going to do that to you. And so I think that if you go up to her, if she's haunted and you're kind of like, oh, like this doll is mean and going to hurt me. Well, yeah, the doll is going to hurt you. But yeah, so I haven't had any experiences. I just really loved to kind of say hello to her and say goodnight.
I've heard a couple stories mention of ghost hunting groups coming in often, and like you said, articles always being written about her. Have any of those groups left with any possible evidence that it is paranormal that you know of?
Nothing that I've really heard of. In recent times, I don't think that there have been many groups that have come in. It was a lot of the hype was a little bit like a couple decades ago, when Mandy made that trip to New York and was on TV, and everybody kind of wanted to know what was the deal with this doll. So I can't say that there was any definitive stuff coming out of it. They might have done the whole recordings and flashlight tests and whatever, but nothing that I know about. No.
We are in the Quesnel Museum, and the Mandy hunt has begun. We are here at the Quesnel Museum. Unfortunately, we couldn't land a night shoot, but they are more than willing to accommodate us for one in the day. We are so excited to be here. Mandy is a famous doll, has been on TV, and now we get the opportunity to go in and do our own hunt. Quesnel and area has been famous for hundreds of years for gold rush history and all just early pioneer history. Also, as well as indigenous settlements have been around this area for in time memoriam. So we don't know how long Mandy has been alive for sure, but we know that Mandy has been here for over 20 years. So just like last time, we're going to gear up, we're going to get some audio, we're going to get camera. We're not going to do thermal this time, but we will try some EMFs. As you can see, we're much more organized this time. We have learnt, so we're trying our best to learn from Mike and Jeff. We're going to take a different approach to the ghost hunt. We are recording in WAV, and we are generally going to try and be better ghost hunters. So in the case, we have the REM pod again. We got some flashlights. So we have more than we need, as we learned last time, as we were almost short on them. We have the thermal again. And we have recorders, extra batteries, EMF, and if we're doing any bigger spots, we have walkie-talkies. One new piece of gear that we are going to use is the spirit box. Mike and Jeff did talk about this before, and while I didn't want to go in debt over ghost hunting gear, I decided to make my own, but it should function exactly the same. When I was looking up spirit box, it was hundreds of dollars, like 2 to 3 if I remember correctly. So I looked up what the purpose of it was, what it did, and I just ended up doing an Arduino project, found some Arduino files, hooked it up to an existing speaker, and this whole setup probably cost less than 20 bucks. And it functions exactly the same. So the static you're hearing is actually it cycling through radio frequencies as fast as it can. And the idea behind it is that it creates space for spirits to talk through. I can't really give you the specifics on how they came to that conclusion, but ghost hunters do seem to get some results by using this. Going even further in Mike and Jeff's advice, we have removed the antenna from this, so we should get no interference from surrounding radio frequencies.
Nice. Are you excited to use it?
Yeah, this will be the first time using it. This is the debut of the Spirit Box here on Phantom Rivers, so hopefully we get some action with it. Okay, let's see what we need. I'm gonna get 2 recorders going. I'm gonna get the EMF. Let's just get the thermal on standby, although I won't use it right away. And a flashlight. So we have 1 recorder going right here. This is just going to capture the general area. I'm going to set this one up a little bit further. And good to go. Also recording WAV. Just for fun. Let's pull out the EMF meter. Reading as 0. I don't think this is anything's gonna happen right away, but let's just place it near Mandy. Nothing at the moment. If only ghost hunting was that easy. Let's see if Mandy is cooler than the rest of the air around her. Although to my knowledge, I believe it's probably picking up the glass, but we got about 21 degrees, which is what I'd expect the room to be. 20.5, going back to Mandy, 20.4.
Okay, so pretty even.
Pretty much the same as everything else here. Again, I should probably talk about the camera on my chest. We are still using the infrared camera with the infrared light. So as soon as the lights go off, this will keep recording and let you know what's going on, even if I don't know. So I think we're pretty much ready to roll. We can start asking some questions, getting the... actually, one other piece of equipment that I do want to bring out is because we hear that Mandy does not like photography, we've actually brought our own DSLR cameras with flashes, so maybe something will kick up. So this was actually going off, but I think it's because we put it right next to the DVD player, so false alarm on that one. Don't put your EMFs near electronics. So. Ooh. So I just read here, they don't allow flash photography of Mandy due to deterioration. So we will follow their rule and not use flash photography, but we will still take pictures.
Does it work?
Yep. we are good so far. Also, Mandy has also been said to drain batteries. So all of this equipment has just had new batteries placed in, been freshly charged. So if anything goes dead, that's a bit weird. Everything seems normal so far. Those look like regular pictures to me.
There's nothing on the screen.
Oh. So we're going to do some tests with the lights on, get ourselves a baseline, and then we're going to turn the lights off, see if Aunt Mandy's a little bit more active at night.
Dun.
So the lights off part of the hunt has begun. We are going to try and firing up the spirit box, asking a few questions, and get the ghost hunt on a roll here. This will be the lights when they start flashing.